Welcome back to Tipton Bros. Today, we'll be discussing Japan's first jet aircraft, the Nakajima Kikka. Before we begin, I must disclose that I am no expert and never claimed to be. Now, let's get into it. In 1944, a handful of Japanese representatives would visit their close ally in Nazi Germany. Outside of bolstering relations, Japan was eager to see what could be gained from their European counterpart in terms of technological advancement. Given a peek behind the curtain, Japanese officials saw the inner workings of the Luftwaffe, including development of the Messerschmitt Me-262, among other projects. Thoroughly impressed, the island nation requested the design plans for the fighter jet, which was given the green light. The shared blueprints would be divided and transported to the Japanese mainland by way of German U-boat. May 15, 1945. One of these U-boats would be intercepted and captured by the Allies, leaving Japanese engineers with an incomplete puzzle. The now unfinished guidelines were delivered to Nakajima, where their design team would be tasked with not only manufacturing this foreign aircraft, but meeting specifications set by the IJN. These requirements stipulated a maximum speed of 430 miles per hour, a bomb load of 1,100 pounds, and a minimum operational range of 125 miles. On top of this, the Imperial Japanese Navy requested it have folding wings and be capable of assembly by unskilled labor. These two aspects became a focal point of construction, as folding wings would allow the jet to be concealed in tunnel systems away from Allied bombers and put together with minimal training to defend the home islands. The project stalled surrounding the power plant, as a large portion of the plans lost were that of the BMW 109-3 axial turbojet engine. Japan would once more look inward for a domestic solution, contracting with Ishikawajima Heavy Industries to produce a replacement engine. The result of this was the Ishikawajima NE-12, a centrifugal flow turbojet with an axial compressor. While the work is commendable, the NE-12 did not generate nearly enough power to meet specifications, roughly 750 pounds of thrust per unit, so the system was scrapped. Labeled the Kikka, or officially the Imperial Weapon No. 2, the aircraft sat dormant, while engineers scrambled to draft a suitable engine proposal. It was finally decided that a general copy of the BMW 109-3 axial turbojet was best. The power plant development was done from photos and a single cross-section drawing. Yes, that's correct. These men of Ishikawajima Heavy Industries somehow cobbled together a functioning version of a BMW 109-3 axial turbojet engine from exterior photos and a single fragmentary sketch. That's hard to wrap your head around. This licensed copy was designated the NE-20 and produced sufficient thrust, specifically 1,045 pounds per unit, to support the Nakajima Kikka. The main landing gear was sourced from an A6M0 and the nose strut wheel from the tail end of a Yokosuka P-1Y bomber. This was done to conserve time and material, as the war situation was now dire and resources razor thin. The airframe was noticeably smaller than that of the Messerschmitt Me-262, and the critical lack of raw material is again the culprit. The Kikka, from a distance, is a mirror image of the iconic German aircraft, but a look beneath the surface reveals a stark contrast between the two. The Kikka lacks the triangular fuselage, swept-back mainplane, and swept-back horizontal stabilizer that make the Me-262 so memorable. It retains the underslung engine nacelles, in addition to cockpit layout and a tricycle landing gear. The first functioning prototype was completed in late May of 1945, and by this point, Germany had collapsed, and the Empire of Japan was soon to follow. The maiden flight of the Kikka took place on August 7th, departing from Kisarazu Naval Base near Saitama, Japan. With the aid of rocket boosters, the jet fighter leapt off the runway, and from all reports was quite remarkable during its 20-minute test run. It would have surely matched the latest generation of Allied piston-driven aircraft, such as the P-47 Thunderbolt, F-4U Corsair, or P-51 Mustang. With that said, it was no wonder weapon, and was merely in the prototype phase. Let's briefly cover specification numbers for the Kikka before we wrap up today's video. The Kikka, or Orange Blossom, had a maximum speed of 432 miles per hour, at an optimal power altitude of 33,000 feet. The service ceiling comes in at 39,000 feet, with a rate of climb pushing 1,300 feet per minute. The Japanese fighter was powered by two Nakajima NE-20 axial flow turbojet engines, which produced upwards of 1,045 pounds of thrust each. The Kikka was flown by a crew of one and had a range of 586 miles, or 509 nautical miles. It was a decently sized aircraft, with a length of 27 feet, a height of 10 feet, and an overall wingspan of 32 feet 10 inches. Empty weight was 5,071 pounds, with the max takeoff weight nearly double that at 9,000 pounds, demonstrating how much power the Kikka possessed. Armament consisted of two 30mm Type 5 autocannons mounted in the nose cone assembly. The bomb load was one 1,100-pound explosive, or one 1,800-pound explosive, which would be selected depending on the intended target. The first Kikka was the sole example finished from top to bottom, but unfortunately sustained damage during landing and was destroyed before war's end, never to see combat. Partially complete aircraft number 2, along with airframes 3, 4, and 5, were all captured by U.S. forces and brought back for extensive testing. A set of NE-20 engines were tested by Chrysler, but later scrapped. Today, 2 airframes survive and are in the process of being rebuilt. One example is held at the Paul E. Garber Preservation and Restoration Storage Facility, located in Silver Hill, Maryland. The second and last Kikka is on display at the Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center in Fairfax County, Virginia. I hope you've enjoyed today's brief overview of Japan's first jet aircraft, the Nakajima Kikka. We are a small channel, so a like is greatly appreciated, and recommendations are always welcome. Again, I am no expert and never claim to be. Until next time, on Tipton Bros.